Thank you. Welcome to Shifting Grades. For a mathematics lesson, we are revising last year's Kcse mathematics paper 2. So follow me, and I believe you are going to benefit. I am starting the section 2 of paper 2. Therefore, the first question, number 17, it says, number 17, the first term of an AP, the first term of an AP arithmetic progression is equal first term of a geometric progression. The first term of an AP is equal to the first term of a geometric progression. The second term of the AP, is equal to the fourth term, of the GP. And again, we are told, while the 10th term of the AP is equal to the 7th term, of the GP. So this is how an AP and a GP are related. First term in the AP is equal to the first term in the GP. Then second term in the AP is equal to the fourth. Finally, 10th term in the AP to the 7th term in the GP. Then the questions come now. Part A, given that A is the first term and D is the common, write two expressions. Write the two expressions connecting the AP and the GP. Write two expressions connecting the AP and the GP. Solution. It's good to know that for the AP arithmetic progression, the nth term is given by A, the first term, plus n minus 1 multiplied by D, the common difference. We are saying that the first term in the AP is equal to the first term in the GP. Therefore, A is equals to A, and that will not be one of the expressions. Now the expressions will start here now. The two expressions we want. That the second term in the AP, which will be A plus D, is the same as the fourth term in the GP. Now, any of the term, so this is second term, any term for a GP, a geometric progression, is given by A times R raised to power n minus 1, where n is the nth term and R is the common ratio. Therefore, this is the second term for AP, but now the fourth term for GP now will be A times R. N is 4 minus 1, 3. Therefore, we are told they are equal. Therefore, A plus D is the same as A times R cubed, like that. So this is our first expression. And another expression, 10 in the term, which will be now A plus 10 minus 1, 9, times D will be the same as the seventh term of the GP. Therefore, seventh term in the GP will be A times R power N, which is 7 minus 1. So power 6, like that. And this is our second expression. So the two expressions desired are these ones. Find the value of R that satisfies the progressions. Find the value of R. Part B, find the value of R. Therefore, what you do for this one is you solve the two simultaneously. You solve the two equations simultaneously. So we can say that from the first one, from the first equation, this one, you can say B is equal to AR cubed minus A. Therefore, with that now we can substitute where we have B in the second one with AR cubed minus A. So A plus 9 instead of D, we replace it with AR cubed minus A is equal to AR power 6, like that. Therefore, A plus 9AR cubed minus 9A is equal to AR power 6. Therefore, we can arrange this one starting with AR power 6 minus 9A cubed plus 8A, because when you group, you get negative 8, but coming 8 becomes a negative, is equal to 0. Therefore, we can solve this one quadratically. We can use the factorization method, whereby we say a product of 8 by 1 and a sum of negative 9, and these factors, which will give us negative 9 when added and the positive 8 when subtracted, are negative 1 and negative 8. So negative 1 and negative 8 when added, negative 9 when multiplied, positive 8. Therefore, now getting R now. Okay, it's good to realize that A is common throughout, and therefore A will simply cancel out with 0. A will simply cancel out with 0. Therefore, what we will get here now is R cubed is equal to 8, or R cubed is equal to 1. R cubed is equal. Therefore, R will either be 2 or R is equal to 1. And because this is an increasing progression, then with 1 it will just become a stationary progression. So we choose to say R is 2. We choose 2 and ignore the 1. Like that. We ignore the 1. Therefore, A cancels out throughout in that step. A cancels out. And now you find when you factorize here now, you come cubed as either 8 or negative positive 1, and finding the root, you get it is 2. Then part C, given that the 10th term of the GP, 10th term of the GP, given that the 10th term of the GP, given that the 10th term of the GP is 5120. Find A and D. Find A and D. Remember, we already know R. We already know that R is 2. And the 10th term is calculated by A, R power 9. Therefore, the 10th term is already known, 5120. Should be the same as A times 2 power 9. Therefore, dividing through, A will become 10, like that. A is 10. Now, to get D, we can substitute in any of these equations. Now, either here or in the second one. Therefore, A plus D. So, A is 10 plus D, tumepata is 10. D is unknown. A is 10, D unknown. It will be the same as 10 times R, which is 2 power 3. Replacing in the first equation there. Therefore, this is 8. Meaning, because of 10, 80. Therefore, D will be 80 minus 10, 70. Therefore, D is 70, A is 10. That is the progression. That is the progression. Calculate the sum of the first 20 terms of the AP. First 20 terms of the AP. Sum of the first 20 terms of the AP. Sum of the first 20 terms of the AP. So here, we say that sum of n terms is given by n over 2 into A plus n minus 1 into D. Therefore, we shall have sum of 20 terms plus n 10 plus 20 minus 1, 19 times D, 70. Like that. Therefore, this is 10 into. Let me use a calc there. 19 by 70. We get 1330. 1330 plus 10. We get 1340 by 10. We get 1340. So by 10 we get 13400 is the answer. 13400 is the answer. So that's how we were supposed to do the 10 mark question. 10 mark question. Number 18. Number 18. We are told back about some plots. Plots at 400,000 each. Then the value of each plot appreciated. The value of each plot appreciated at the rate of 10%. Each plot appreciated at the rate of 10% per annum. Calculate value of a plot after 2 years. The value of a plot after 2 years. So under commercial arithmetic, subtopic called appreciation and depreciation, we know that the value of an item which is appreciating after a given time is given by the principal, which is the initial value of this item, into 1 plus R all over 10. Okay, rates all over 100 percentage. Therefore, initial value of the item into 1 plus rate of appreciation raised to n, where n is the number of appreciation periods. Therefore, the value after 2 years will be initial value of 400,000 into 1 plus 10 over 100 raised to 2. Therefore, this will be 4,000, 1.1 squared. And this will give us 484,000 shillings as the price of this land after 2 years. After 2 years. Then part B, we are told after time t, the value of a plot was 558,400. Find t to the nearest month. Find t to the nearest month. Solution. Find t to the nearest month. So, having been told that these lands are appreciating at a rate of 10%, and now we are told that their initial value was 400,000. Now we are given the value after some time as 55,400. We are told to find t or n. We are finding t now, the time taken. Therefore, we will again use the formula and say this new value is equal to initial value into 1 plus rate, which is 10%, raised to a t. No. Therefore, now here we can start by dividing through by 400. This will give us 400,000. This will give us 1.396 is equal to 1.1 raised to t. Raised to t. Now, with that, now we can see by introducing logs to both sides. So log 1.396 is equal to t log 1.1. Therefore, to get t, we will take the log of 1.396 divided by the log of 1.1, and this will give us 3.500, like that. Therefore, 3.5. The examiner said to the nearest month. Therefore, 3.5 means 3 years. 0.5 means a half. Therefore, a half a year is 6 months. .5 means 3 years and 6 months, like that. The next part C, and the last in this part. Number 18, Mbaka sold all the plots he had bought after 4 years. He sold the plots he had bought after 4 years. He sold the plots after 4 years for 2,928,200. He sold the plots for that much. Find the percentage profit made by Mbaka. The percentage profit made by Mbaka. You find the percentage profit he made. Solution. Therefore, if he is selling them at this, we can check the value at which he had bought them, no matter how many they were. If their value is 2,928,200, and he has bought them at a price which we don't know because we don't know how many they are. into 1 plus a rate of 10 over 100 for 4 years. Then it means now this person gets 1 or P into 1.1 power 4, and this is 2928,200. Therefore, to get P, we divide 2,928,200 by 1.4, and this will give us 2 million Kenyan shillings. Therefore, it means he had bought the plots for 2 millions. And if he had bought them for 2 millions and he is selling them for these after 4 years, then it means he has gotten a profit of 2,928,200 minus 2 million, which is giving us 928,200 Kenya shillings. Now, percentage profit will be the profit he got divided by the buying price, which is 2M by 100, and this two places will give us 46.41% as the percentage profit got after the sales of the land. I'd like now to go to number 20. Number 20. A sheep left P, which is a place 10 degrees south, 40 degrees east, and sailed due east for 90 hours at a speed of 24 knots. At a speed of 24 knots. Therefore, a ship is sailing from P, 10 degrees south, 40 degrees east, due east. So it went eastwards for 90 hours at a speed of 24 knots to a point R. It went to a point R. Then we are taught to calculate the distance between P and R. Calculate the distance between P and R, Roman 1 in nautical miles and Roman 2 in kilometers. Therefore here, we just say that because we are given speed in knots, we know that distance was in nautical miles, and therefore we say distance is equal to speed times time. A speed of 24 knots times 90 hours, this will give us a distance of 2160 nautical miles. Then again in the question for Roman 2, we are given that 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.853 kilometers. Therefore, now 2160 nautical miles, 1.853 times 2160, and this is giving us 402 kilometers, 4002.48 kilometers. Therefore, it can be converted that way. Determine the position of point R. Determine the position of point R. The position of point R. So we know the position of P, and we know a ship has gone for that distance to R, Therefore, we can get the distance. We can get so we can start by sketching the positions of these two places on the Earth's surface. So we are told P is 10 south, 10 and 40 east. So 40 degrees in the east. Where they intersect, we get P. Now, point R is eastwards. So when we are here, to the east. But eastward, it means it went through parallel latitude. It came to R. Therefore, we only know the distance, but we don't know the position of R. Therefore, from P to R, it is a distance along a small circle or along a parallel latitude. And therefore, we know that distance along a parallel latitude is given by theta all over 360 2 pi r cosine of the latitude where the two places are. This is now in kilometers. Because we have the distance as 4002.48, then we can say it's equal to theta, which is the change in longitude from this longitude to this one, all over 360 2 pi r radius of the Earth's surface. Radius of the Earth is 6370 kilometers. Cosine of they are on latitude 10. So cosine of 10, which is the latitude where they are. Therefore, solving this one, you get theta as 36.54 degrees. The difference in longitude. Therefore, if from P to R is 36.54 degrees, then it means the longitude of R is, this is already 40, and we are going for a further 36.54. Therefore, the latitude or the longitude for R will be, the longitude of R will be, when we take 36.54 plus 40, this is 76.54. Therefore, now to locate, it is in the east. Therefore, to locate the position of R, we say R is 10 degrees south, 76.54 degrees in the east. That's how we locate the position of R. Alternatively, we could have used the formula to get distance in nautical miles, whereby we would have said that the distance in nautical miles 2160 is equal to, when we take beta times 60 cosine of latitude, which is 10, and in the same case we would have gotten beta as still 36.54. Now, because P to R is 36.54 and P is already at 40 and R is to the east, then it means we had that difference and we get 76.54 as the answer. Then lastly, find the local time. Find time at C. Find the local time at R. When at P the time is, find the local time at R. Find the local time at R when the local time at P is 11 a.m. So the time at P is 11 a.m. So we are taught to get the time at R. Therefore, what we do here, we consider longitude difference. And the longitude difference between P and R is 36.54. Therefore, here we will come and say that because we know that for every 1 degree, there is a difference of 4 minutes. And therefore, now, for a difference of 36.54, how many minutes shall we have? We multiply like that. And this should give us 146.17 minutes, which will translate to 2 hours. Hours give us 120 minutes, meaning there is 26 minutes which will remain on top. Therefore, the difference in time, because the difference in longitude is 36.54, then the difference in time will be 2 hours, 26 minutes. Therefore, now what we consider next is now, where is the place relative to the other one? P is 11 a.m. and R is to the east. Therefore, we say that places in the east are ahead in time when compared with places to the west. Therefore, R is in east compared to P. And therefore, it means because R is in east of P, then R is ahead of time. R is ahead in time of P. R is ahead of P in time. And therefore, we had the difference. Therefore, it will be 11:00 plus 2 hours, 26 minutes. This will give us 13:26 hours. Or you can just state it in the 12-hour clock system, 1:26 p.m. the same day. Therefore, the time difference will be that one. That will be the time difference. Number 23 is a vector question. Is a vector question. Let me draw the vectors here. We are taught that the figure below. Sorry, of the figure like this. Then we have a cross here. And another one here. Like that. Then this is O, this is A, this is B. Then we are told that this is vector B, this is vector A. Then we are told that this is point X, this is point C, and this point is Y. That way. Then we in this figure, OA is equal to vector A. Okay, we have already written. Let me give the ratios. That OX is to OA, 1 is to 2. Then BY is to YA is equal to 1 is to 3, like that. Then express in terms of terms of A and B. Roman 1 vector BA, Roman 2 vector O, and Roman 3 vector BX. Vector BX. Solution for part A. vector BA will be given by BO plus OA. BO plus OA. So BO, because OB is B, then BO is the reverse direction. Negative B plus OA, which is vector A. And this is, we can rearrange to start with A minus B. That way, Roman 2, vector OY. Vector OY can be given by OB plus BY. And this shall be, OB is vector B plus BY. So we thought that BY is to YA is 1:3. Then it means BY is, these are 4 proportions. Therefore, BY is 1 out of 4 of vector BA. And BA is already known. A minus B. Like that. Therefore, we now get B plus a quarter A minus a quarter B. And this should be a quarter A. So B minus a quarter B becomes plus B quarters of vector B. That way. Then we are taught to find vector BX. Let me focus right. Vector BX. So vector BX. Vector BX. This can be gotten by BO plus OX. Therefore, BO is negative B, then plus. BO is negative B, then plus. We have this relationship that OX is to OA is 1:2. Meaning, if these are 3 portions, then this as 1 and this one as 2. Meaning that OX is half of OA. With 3 portions, this one OA has 2 proportions and OX has 1 proportion, which translates to that OX is half of OA, and OA is vector A. Therefore, this shall be half A minus B. That's the relationship. That is the relationship. Then finally, part B, we are told that OC is equals to H OY, and that BC is equals to H BX. Find the values of constants H and K. Find the values of H and K. Find the values of H and K. Given that OC is H or Y. Therefore, we express one vector. We can choose to express OC in 2 ways. And therefore, OC is equal to H or Y. And OY is already calculated here. So vector OY is a quarter A plus 3/4 B. And this should be a quarter H vector A plus 3 quarters B plus H vector B. 3 quarters H vector B. So that is one way. Another way of OC. Now we express OC in such a way that it will accommodate BC. Such a way that it will accommodate BC. So we want to express OC in such a way that it will accommodate BC. Therefore, we can choose this one, OBBC. OB plus BC. Which will be OB, it's B already. And BC is already calculated, I think. BC. Not calculated, but shown here. That BC is H of, and BX is already found here. So F A minus B. Like that. Let me focus the board properly. Yes, like that. So this shall be now B plus F HA minus HB. We can combine the terms with vector B and have it like B factored out into 1 minus H plus F HA plus F HA plus F HA, like that. Now with the two expressions for vector OC, we can now compare them and equate the parts with A and the parts with B. So the parts with B, this 3/4 H, 3/4 HB, 3/4 HB is equal to B into 1 minus H. The vector cancels and this gives us 3/4 H is equal to 1 minus H. So we can group like terms together and say that 1 is equal to, when we bring H here, 1 and 3/4 H. So 1 and 3/4 is 7/4 H. Like that. We can also equate the A, the parts with vector A, and say 1/4 HA in this one is equal to half HA. Therefore, just a minute. Let me rectify something. In this constants, we say that H is equals to OY and OC is equals to HOY, but BC is equals to KBX. So this is a K, sorry. This is a K. Therefore, in the second one, I think where we have H is a K, we had made that error. Where we have H, it's a K. So this is a K. This is a K. This is a K. This should be a K. This should be K. Therefore, with that now, I think we can now correct. So, we can say now, we can equate now this part with A here in the first expression. So, okay, let me rewrite the expressions. 1/4 HA plus 3/4 HB is equal to this other portion, vector b 1 minus k plus a quarter Ka, half Ka, sorry, half Ka. Therefore, the parts with A can be equated now. A quarter Ha is equal to a quarter Ka. Therefore, A cancels and we will remain with a quarter H being equal to half K. So we can get K as by 2 and by 2. 2 over 4, which is half H. Therefore, K is equal to half H. We can call this one expression 1. We equate the parts with B. Therefore, 3/4 HB is equal to B into 1 minus K. With this now, B cancels and we will have 3/4 HB. Therefore, now with this, we can say that in this case, which is the second one, we can substitute K with half H. Therefore, 3/4 H is equal to 1 minus half H. We group like terms together. Therefore, we remain with 1, but 3/4 plus half gives us at 1 1/4 H. Therefore, to get H now, we divide 1 and 1 1/4, and this is all over 5. Then on the same note again, we know that K is equals to half H, and H is 4 over 5. Therefore, the 2 cancels and we have 2 over 5 as our K. Therefore, the other constant is 2 over 5. 4 over 3, 2 over 5. So that is the paper. Thank you very much for listening to us. Shifting Grades is here for you. Subscribe to our channel, like, comment, share with your friends. Thank you and God bless you. May you be kept safe. Thank you.